Serious Anarchy podcast, and we're back once again with another episode from the astrology series. This time, we're speaking to a Capricorn, good friend of mine, Amina. Welcome, Amina.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you sound absolutely amazing. I think this is probably one of the clearest sounding recordings I've done yet. How are you?
I'm actually doing really good. Really good. Feeling blessed. You know what I mean? And how about yourself?
Yeah, pretty good, thanks. Done quite a bit of recording today, so it's kind of one of those moments where I feel like, might as well strike while the iron's hot.
I feel you on that.
So we've ended up here on the podcast. Thank you so much for volunteering to come on and share a story. So I guess where do we go from here? Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself, first of all?
Okay. I'll be more than happy. And again, thanks for the invite. My name's Amina. I live in Texas in the United States. I'm 34, single, no kids, and I am a nurse.
Excellent. How have you found the last year? With the whole pandemic being announced.
I will have to say now that we're making it through it, or I don't want to say it's calmed down, but we're more enlightened or more able to see exactly how to deal with this type of situation. It actually strengthened me a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It helped me to become a better person, and it also really put a flashlight on who's really your friends, who's really not. Dating wise, who do you really want to spend time with? Because when it first started, if you were dating around, you really couldn't after. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you had to be very, very selective. And as a Capricorn, even though we're very strategic in our thinking when it comes to relationships, I am not that good. I am not that good on selecting. And I was one of the ones that chose, I guess, not the best option that suits me.
The options that force you to grow, I guess.
Huh?
The options that force you to grow.
Now that I'm out the thick of it, that is true. But while you're in it, you just really do a lot of thinking and reflecting on the inside. I'm still learning that, you gotta always go by what people do, not what they say. You can't trust everybody, no matter how long you've known them. And a lot of the times people think your enemy or someone out to get you is this complete stranger. No, it is always, I want to say always, it is 98% someone in your immediate circle.
Interesting.
And a little bit of reflection on I guess when it comes to astrology, even though I'm a Capricorn sun, I'm such a Cancer moon. So I feel like I'm a little bit more emotional than the next Capricorn. My moon and ascending is Cancer. And if you know anything about astrology, well, of course you do, but I had to learn for myself that Cancer and Capricorns are the extreme opposites.
Yeah.
And I am both. So yes, I love money. I wouldn't say I'm money hungry, but I do believe that money can equal happiness, because when you're sick, with money you could buy medicine. If you want to give a gift to somebody, you need money. If you need to help out with someone, you need money. So I am very career focused, but I'm also very emotional. Like, I will have to say a lot of the Cancer characteristics does show, especially when it comes to dating, for me at least. Okay. But I don't know where to begin.
Wow. Yeah, I was going to say, because that was a whole foray into who Amina is. at this point, I like to ask the question. Okay, so tell me a story. So whichever story you've got to mind that comes to mind right now, whichever one you feel led to share.
I would go ahead and I can always. The foundation comes from a relationship that was about 8.5 years.
Long
I
or ago?
dated long, so it was an
Okay.
8.5 year relationship, but I disconnected maybe in 2017, early January, and that's when I started to rebuild myself.
Right.
I guess you don't say real names, right? Even though I said mine.
It's fine. It's up to you. Make
I
up
would
a
have
name
to
if you wish.
say, because the question is who I am, correct?
The question is for you to tell a story.
Okay.
Yeah. So tell us a story about something that happened to you or something that you experienced, whether it's funny or sad or serious or whatever it is, just anything that you feel reflects who you are.
Okay. I can say that this story doesn't reflect who I am, but this story helped me to become who I am today. It
Okay.
was the foundation of it. So basically, I met this person when I was 22. Never had a real relationship prior to that. I think I wasn't a virgin, but I maybe had like one partner. So I was even though I was older, I guess you can say, I was very naive to a lot of things. I dated this person for like 8.5 years. And of course, the beginning of it, I guess 4 years within, it was okay. Every relationship has its rocky moments. But I would say 6 months, you get your first red flag and you either listen or you don't. He was still messaging other people, still trying to, I guess, test out the waters. That almost led to a breakup, but didn't. And as we progressed on, I would say the 7th to going towards the 8th year, that's when everything came crashing down. I have helped this person basically when he couldn't pay his rent. I came through, couldn't pay his sticker for his car to go to school. I helped because again, at this time, I thought we were.
When you say a sticker, what do you mean?
Oh, I am sorry about that. Okay, so college in the United States, they are very money hungry. So not only do you have to pay to go to school, you have to pay to park.
So oh right, okay.
So the sticker is like maybe
Like it's
some
parking.
places do stickers, some places do placards, but basically it's something that you put on your car to let the school know you paid and you can park there. If you even though you paid for school, if you did not pay to park there, they will tow your vehicle.
Yeah.
And just basically hard times. I was there, but it was never reciprocated. But the last year is when everything came into fruition. It basically went from gaslighting to finding out not only I was getting cheated on, I was getting cheated on with a full-blown drug addict who was into methamphetamine, who was in love with another drug addict, also into methamphetamine. And that girl's sense of, I don't know what's real and what's not, no disrespect to Pisces, but it led her to stalk my house, call me from 10 different numbers on WhatsApp, different numbers on my iPhone, different emails on my Gmail. I have emails from my iCloud. I don't know how many blocked Facebook accounts from this girl. Her name was Abby. I'm gonna say publicly because I pray she hears this. She was an insane psycho. Now, I don't blame her completely because, of course, someone has to leave that door open. But I basically went through this whole scenario by myself. I try to get help from the police in my state, and they refused because I had no evidence. So
Wow.
I had to sit through
What
a
you had
full year.
emails and texts and all of this with phone calls and stuff, but yet you had no evidence.
Because to them, just because a person says it, let me actually say it the way the detective, because I went several times. My car is keyed and was broken into, so there was incidents that led up to it. But the issue that I would say not only my state has is probably just a problem in the US itself, is that they want to wait until something actually happens
Right.
for them to get involved. So if a person threatens you over the phone, through text, or through emails, their rebuttal is, how do we know it's them? Yes, it's their email. Yes, it's their phone. How do we know it's not someone else texting for them? That's the role they play.
Wow.
So they will tell you, or at least I was told, that I had to get recordings, and not just one or two, but several, to have some type of leg to stand on, because threats by Facebook, threats by text, emails to them means nothing. And this is why, people end up getting killed or hurt, because when you try to go for help, there is no one to help you. I hate to say it, but it's true. But I went through that for a year. Him trying to come back into my life, also being on drugs, calling random times of the night, coming to my house random times of the night, threatening, even it got physical more than once. Basically led me to think about, what situations am I putting myself in? Do I really know people that I claim to know? It took years. Like, to this day, once in a while I get a message, but it ended up that they both got arrested for like stealing a car and then trying to go across the border to sell it. And when he was in jail, he gave them my number. So I'm having two different, like, a city out of my state calling my phone saying, there's a person in jail by the name of blank blank trying to connect with you.
Okay.
I had to block all ways of communication, even though people, when they want to talk to you, they find a way. But and that's just to sum it up, because it's an hour-long story if I was to get into it, even though we're probably into it way longer. But it was literally, I was in a love triangle, not knowing I was in a love triangle, and then could not get myself out of the love triangle. From her perspective, my existence was preventing her from finding the addict and the love of her life.
Right.
He will use me as a carrot to dangle her, to make her do things. And then he would try to use aggressive tones or languages, or just say things like, you wouldn't be nothing without me, blah blah blah, to try to trigger me.
Wow.
Now, you don't think a person you've known for 7 years will pull the stunts this person would, but you will be surprised with the people you really think you know. And that situation itself made me hesitant to date. Like, I didn't date I barely started trying to talk to somebody recently as of last year. I took that much of a gap. I had to stop having sex for over a year just to get a grasp on reality and my identity, and trying to move on past it, because it triggers. It's a big triggering fact.
I can appreciate that. Are you there?
I'm there. I'm just thinking, because sometimes when I say it, it doesn't sound like reality. It sounds like some random TV show you would see, or some sitcom, but that's pretty much not really a sad story, just I would say more insightful. Be careful who you really think you know. You know what I mean? Because you really don't know a person until they're down on their luck or you're down on your luck, and then that's who you truly know who you're dealing with.
Yeah, they say that diamonds are made under pressure, and I think some people crack under pressure and reveal certain aspects of themselves, whether that be from their shadow or otherwise, or some sort of unhealed, unresolved trauma, regardless of how big or small it may appear to be. And it becomes so immersive that it rears itself in these quote unquote opportune moments, where really an approach that would be seen to be holistic and restorative and really just healthy, having a healthy dynamic with somebody else, would go some way to managing and navigating through that situation. Because there's always two sides to the story. There's always different perspectives. But I think that when it comes to especially romantic relationships, communication really is one of those vital aspects. And if you're not able to communicate with the other person, then it kind of leaves it short, because one person will come and then the other person just doesn't, and there's a constant battle and a conflict that takes place. So how have you had closure, or how have you left this situation? Like, have you spoken with him since, or heard from her even, or has it all stopped now?
Oh man, you brought up so many good topics. I would say to the point of there's more than one side. That is true.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I'm not a perfect person. Sometimes I could be a little firecracker, you know what I mean? But
Mm-hmm.
I feel that there's certain things no one deserves. And I do believe that our communication was poor. And I do believe that being my first real relationship, there's a lot of things I was naive or didn't know what to do, because it was my first relationship. You know, I've never spent the night. I've never lived with someone. I never traveled out the state. So it was a lot of my first. And then when it comes to that, you have to make for sure that the person knowing that doesn't take advantage, because in my situation, I feel there were a lot of vantage points on his side. But when it comes to how have I gotten closure, I realized, well, first I had to do a lot of research online for myself, just reading about what the hell did I get myself into? How do I move on from it? Because this is just my opinion, but getting closure, like literally talking to that person, to me is a no-no. It is probably a big lie. What does that other person have to tell you for you to move on, other than the situations and the signs you saw beforehand? That's what I had to tell myself. The closure I got from it is me making peace that this happened. Why did this happen? How can I not let this happen again? And not having hatred for that person, but as of us having a kumbaya sit down and let's talk about it. There is nothing to talk about, because there could never be anything that he could say to excuse or make a person understand what they were going through. I already know you got into drugs, you lost your mind, and you did what you had to do, and then you had fun during it. You're older than me, because I want to say he's 38 now, maybe 39, 4 or 5 years apart. So it could have been, oh, this girl's in her late 20s, I'm still gonna see if I can pull. She introduced me to meth. And that's the thing about the story I forgot to mention. She introduced him to that. Well, I don't know for sure, but what I was told and looking at what happened, she would buy the drugs. She got him to try the drugs. And when you bond with a person over a drug that you've never tried before, there's a certain bond that person's going to be forever
Mm.
connected to you. But
Mm.
as of me talking, no, it took everything in me, everything in my power, not to run him over should I see him cross my street. Because in Texas, y'all may say we crazy in Texas, in the United States, in Texas, and as a nurse, you know, long as you stop and render aid, my friend. Long as you stop and render aid. And it's just, it would have been, there was so much hate, there was so much anger, there were so much triggering points that even if I was to reach out, I knew in the back of my mind nothing would get resolved, because it would turn into it was your fault because, well, you did this, so I did this, like a justification. I accept responsibility now that maybe I wasn't the best person at communication and you wanted to go and move on. But there's ways of freaking doing it. You know, there's ways of just cut cords. Like, I was very clear. I was like, if this is what you wanted to do, then yeah, we could have cut cords. You do your thing, but you put me in a whole drama-filled. And if you've never met a meth addict, of all the drugs, and I used to be a dosing nurse at a substance abuse a facility. Okay. You gotta pause and look up the signs and symptoms of a meth addict.
So I'm guessing, were you able to tell, like, from the very beginning?
At first, no, because methamphetamine, depending on what your dosage is, doesn't last long, and depending on if your brain is already unstable, sometimes the meth can make you a little bit more stable than normal. So I would notice when he was more angry or whatever that something was wrong. When he was on it at the beginning, because I've never done any drugs, you know what I mean? I never even really smoked weed, so I had to learn a lot of it through that facility I used to work at, talking to a lot of the addicts, which they were like the nicest people, which I shouldn't use that word addicts, substance abusers who are trying to clean their life, but they would even say, like, I would take a heroin addict, or, I mean, I don't consider weed a drug, so I'm not even gonna put weed out there. Coke, what else? There's so much. I don't think I met somebody on Molly, whatever. But meth is just a different beast, because they also become very paranoid. So you could be having a regular conversation like you've always done, but the person on meth may get triggered today by what you said right now, and you have no idea. But at first I couldn't. But as he would do more and more, or I guess reading different levels, there'll be times to where, because at first, you know, when you love someone, you want to help them, you want to see the best in them, or maybe you want to, you know, and I was in the whole mood of a mechanic, a repair office, maybe if I could fix it, you know. I wasn't in that stage, I'm not gonna lie. So, because this ended up leading him to be homeless. Like, this is a musician that when we were together, he was at his best weight, super athletic, doing different soccer leagues, was in photography, was in school for becoming a music teacher, great communication with his son. Me and his baby mom were cool. Like, it went from that to stealing. The only thing I noticed, though, he never stole from me. Okay. He had some type of grasp that he never stole from me, but
he stole from everybody else.
I've heard some stories that he set some people up. He would tell me stories that he would help that girl write hot checks to people that I guess she was like a prostitute. Okay. So, like, she would, like, I guess there's like a whole little underground, like, community of them to where like they'll sleep with each other or rent out like hotels and stuff, and like he'll help orchestrate that. Or if like it was so weird, it was as if he was sharing like the lady. I'm not even gonna glorify her as a sex worker, because a sex worker at least have a profession. She was legit like a prostitute, like doing it for drugs, not doing it for money, not trying to better herself, just literally just doing it for drugs, and will start shit. I'm sorry, but that's what it was. And he would help. He told me one time he helped teach her how to write a hot check from some guy she was talking to, which he knew about, who was disabled. That's how low they got.
Wow.
They will go into these like places of like instruments and like steal stuff and sell it, and it was just it was an experience that you don't want to do twice, you know.
I mean, it sounds like a lot to deal with, having to constantly be looking over your shoulder, wondering what is he doing, what's he up to, like am I safe? You know, real questions that you're asking yourself there.
You're right. And the crazy part is I couldn't do anything because I'm a licensed nurse. That's what really made everything difficult. If I didn't have my license, I would have beat her ass through every realm. And when I died, my spirit would have came back trying to fight her again. Because as a Capricorn, we hold grudges for life. Jesus himself could not get me from not whooping her ass. But I like the money I make, so I didn't. But that's what really made it. And she knew that. She knew where I worked. She knew when I worked. If me and him would have a conversation, she would know about the conversation. It was low key. I think she became obsessed with me because at the end of it, more than once, at the beginning, she tried to be my friend. In the middle of everything, she tried to be my friend and apologize. She told him she wanted me to be her friend. She wanted to have some type of relationship with me. And I said, I can't even say what I'll say.
You can say it. You can say it. It's a free forum.
Well, there's certain things you never say recorded, but
okay.
Basically, let me see if I can say it softly. In a softer way, I told him to tell her, I'll see this bitch in hell and I'm gonna fuck her up then. That's probably the softest way I can say, because that's not truly what I said. It was way dark. way darker than that. But that is someone that probably to this day, if I could get away with it, I would whoop her ass, because I feel like everybody needs one solid ass whooping to know there's certain stunts you don't pull or you don't try on people. And she really tried my gangster, and she just didn't understand that before I became a nurse. I talk that shit too. I could whoop someone's ass. I just choose not to. Don't. It's not anything but the license. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I get you. That's the real responsibility on you. And I would assume that they, being aware of it, might try to probe you a little bit, just to see how far it takes.
Oh, and she tried, and she knew because her mom's a nurse, and her mom also knew she was on drugs, so they have a weird relationship as well. But she knew, and he knew, and that's what really made my hatred just grow. But there's certain, when it comes to closure, because I know that was the original question, there's certain closures you just gotta let go and get it for yourself. You're gonna have to make peace with yourself. Sometimes there's nothing the other person wants to say. That they're not wants to say. Let me rephrase that. There's nothing the other person can say to you to make you move on. Either you want to move on or you don't. Now, if you want to see that person again to hang out because you have love for them, fine. But that's the only thing I really see when people use that term to get closure. Like, for what? Like, and again, I speak because we don't have kids together. Now, maybe if we had kids together, would have been different.
Yeah, that I think that's pretty much the only dynamic really that kind of changes things post relationship. That, and potentially maybe any investments, any shared investments that you might have, maybe even a house or something.
Well,
But
see, on
yeah.
that, I would have to say I'm a little different. I'll take a hit. A matter of fact, I just recently took a hit. I helped someone out. Like, I should never do that. Like five bills, and I was promised, and I still haven't got it back. So there's certain hits you just gotta you gotta leave out. You gotta leave out. Like, I would need it right now, especially what I'm trying to accomplish. But what can you do?
I think it's for me, it's, you know, when people are talking about money and owing, especially friends, it can become quite an uncomfortable conversation. And I know that you mentioned earlier that you borrowed your ex like sums of money for his ticket and for other bits and pieces. And, you know, we kind of think about an investment in a relationship as the length of time that we've been with them. But I guess there is also that other, as well as the emotional investment, there's, you know, other things like the financial investment, the time investment, and the vulnerability that we display with a partner is extremely profound. When it's in that place, it's extremely profound. And to be so vulnerable with somebody, for them to turn around and do something that is harmful, not only to the relationship but to you in this case, you know, these are really, really, really challenging things that you're dealing with or had dealt with. Respect to you for not coming out of your shell and you know, losing your license, because that's, you know, we would have lost the nurse, and in the midst of the pandemic, like, we would have been a nurse down. So gratitude for that and appreciation.
Man, I appreciate that too. And with this situation, I think what helped me a lot, even though I was naive to a lot of things, I've always kind of known how to read people, and now I can read people even better. And I knew that's what they wanted me to do. They wanted me to lose my license and to have nothing, like they had nothing.
Yeah.
The ultimate revenge is doing better. Because then when they see you and they say, hey, weren't you with that person? And they're doing so good, it forces people to take a look at what really did happen. You know what I mean? But yeah, that wasn't the most money I went. Like, I've done some stupid things because, well, I'm not gonna say stupid. I again, Cancer moon, Cancer ascending. So I've learned that I really, when I love people, I love you hard. And if I have the means to give, I would help. Like, I helped them buy a car, dude. So, like, yeah, I've lost some money in that one, but I thought it was going to be a long-term thing. Like you said, it was an investment, but that's what I have to learn, that I need to control my Cancer moon and my Cancer ascending, and hold my emotions back, not be so giving. Like, that has literally harmed me more than helped me.
I think discernment is a word that really comes up for me there, and just patience. I think something else that I was speaking to a friend about earlier this week, and I said to them that people will show themselves, so you don't even need to say or do anything. They will show themselves eventually. And I think that, you know, a part, especially when you're dealing with intimate relationships, whether that be friends or romantic or otherwise, there's conversations that can be had that will show us who that person is, regardless of how well they may be able to articulate a point or how great or bad it might sound. There's always something that gives off a bit of an edge, that there might be something there, not necessarily saying that it's bad, but just something else there to explore. And through tapping in, you know, especially with shadow work, really, self-actualization, real personal self-development. We can actually access those things and view them from a point of view where we can turn it around and we can make it something that's beneficial for us. So yeah, just on that note, like, thank you so much for coming on and onto the podcast and sharing your story. I think you've maybe thought that you didn't have one prep, but you've always got a story. You've always got a story, and that was really powerful. But it shows so much compassion. It shows so much empathy and that undying, I guess, the Cancerian kind of projection of love. And yeah, it's a beautiful dark tragedy in a sense. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is. And I have learned that low key, I do thank him for all of that, because I did not know what I can pull from myself until I was tested. You know what I mean? Like, I was able to go back to school and get my RN. Like, and I actually, you'll probably, well, I think 2 people know, and I guess by the time this air, it should be done. But I have a dog now. I'm gonna close on my first house in less than 3 weeks. Like, I did that by myself. Like, I hustled by myself that I'm gonna get my own place, my own house, and it has property. Like, but it took those darkest moments to literally break me and rebuild me. And I have no hatred, because I know you asked me earlier, have I talked to him? I haven't, but you know what? Not saying I lied, but I want to say 3 months ago, I was getting calls and calls and calls from a different number, or maybe the same number. I don't know. Didn't answer it, heard the voicemail, and then I got a text message, and I was able to say, I'm doing really good. Got a call, declined. That's all you need to know. Because at this moment, I'm such in a happy place that I'm just taking all of those crying, didn't know how I was gonna live, why am I going through this darkest moment, and just use that pain to push through.
The dark night of the soul.
I'm telling you, pain will take you to mountaintops, and what I say, valley lows that love could never. Pain is a motivator, and I've gotten so much further through all of those tragedies. So yeah, totally dark back then, but now that it's been a couple of years, I can kind of giggle. Like, girl, you were stupid.
Excellent.
Girl, you were stupid.
So I mean, just before we go, sitting down having that chat with your ancestors and all of your personality.
Because I know my grandma hated him, because the weirdest things would happen. Like, low key, he loved his hair. I know we gotta go. I just want to say this one thing, but low key, he loved his hair. He had beautiful, like, thick hair. Everybody in his family have hair. Tell me why all that hair fell out. Look at God. Look at my ancestors.
Wow.
I said, thank you, guys. Look at that. Look at that. You ain't got nothing, wow. Not even the hair that you love. You lost everything. And I don't even have to say it was me. It was you hung yourself with all that rope. It finally caught up to you.
So what's the future looking like then? Sort of just briefly.
My future is looking like, okay, like I mentioned, I'm gonna close on that house. It's an older home. I've always loved older homes. I am still trying to get into the stock market, so I'm doing penny stocks as we speak right now to kind of get the feel of that. I've been told and talking to different types of people about different streams of income, because I was told it's not just 3 streams. You want 5 streams if you can. You want the types of income that you can make while you're sleeping. And I've learned to roller skate, or I'm learning to roller skate, and I'm hoping to maybe acquire another property in 5 years. Just kind of watching the I guess the how do you call it down here? I guess watching property prices and realtors talk
Right.
about it, and just kind of watching all of that, seeing where is it going to be in 5 years. So what I'm trying to do is, I love nursing. I love helping the sick. Man, there is nothing like that, because at least I know that I'm helping someone in the worst time of their life. They don't have to be having a heart attack, but when a person's sick, they're vulnerable, and to them it's the worst moment of their life, and I'm able to help. But future wise, I still help my dad out, taking care of him, to trying to basically financially build myself. And I'm learning to get to know people who already do the things that I like, and I'm no longer trying to convince people that I've known or my friends to try something new. So just networking, and future wise trying to see how I could build my own little legacy.
Excellent. So it sounds like the future is bright after the dark night of the soul.
It is.
Oh, that was pretty good. Thank you so much, Amina. I really, really, really appreciate you taking some time to spend with me. I know it's 11 o'clock p.m. here, and I'm still.
Oh wow! I forgot the time difference. It's like 4:57 in Texas right now. 4:57 p.m.
Yeah,
but
you're
yeah,
TP,
man,
aren't
it's
you?
always a pleasure talking to you. You know, I got you. I hope
Likewise.
if they listen to this, I'm sorry if the story wasn't as detailed.
No, it was fantastic. Thank you so much. It's all good.
I just sometimes just talk. But man, it's just, when I talk to somebody or talk to you, it's like, I don't know what's there until it gets pulled out of me, and then I start getting triggered or reliving moments, and then it comes back to me, because this whole situation, I had to suppress for years. I had to suppress as if I've never met this person in my life, just to push through, and then slowly but surely try to deal with each moment on why it happened. Because then, I mean, I got anxiety now because of all of that, like legit, like had to go to the doctor, and too much anxiety, you know what I mean? So it left its little scars. But I mean, hell, if that anxiety helped me buy a house, all right, that's cool, whatever. You know? There's edibles for that, right?
Well, taking that pain and getting something out of it, right? I mean, transmutation. And I really do hope that, you know, the rest of the healing journey for you and growth and development goes really, really well. Sounds like you've got some really promising projects in your life taking place in the next sort of, you know, few years. And it's been an absolute pleasure to be friends with you, to check in and catch up with you every now and then.
Of course. And when you become like super duper famous, at least if you never want to use like a hotel, now I actually have a spot, you know?
Hey.
You know, like it got 3. I'm trying.
Awesome. Okay, that's all we've got time for. So thank you so much, Amina. Really appreciate it. And I look forward to catching up with you very soon.
Of course, you have a wonderful day, and you take care.
And you. That's all we've got time for on the Curious Anarchy podcast. This is the Capricorn edition of the Astrology Story series. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.